Well, Julio, I lost her, just like that. She was in my grasp. One day she was going to be my wife, and now she's gone forever. I'm sorry, Katie. I love you. I miss you already. No, just kidding. Congratulations to Katie Wu. She got a job being a beat writer for the Cardinals, so that's awesome.
Or The Athletic. Shout out to a good friend, Alex Coffey.
Yeah, shout out to yeah. Oh, maybe she can set us up.
Well, we think about it. We also had Jessica Kleinschmidt on too, so she could.
I don't think they were working together then.
On NBC, NBC Sports. Look, it's too late. It's too late. It's gone. Hey, Chris, look, just take that Bachelor audition, like I joked about with you earlier, and
no. Welcome to Town Tailgate, where we talk about my romantic life all the time because I'm 29 and still single with no potential matches. That's why. And Julio sent me literally a screenshot of a Bachelor audition. Was like, "Can I sign you up?" And I told him, "Fuck no." Like,
Michelle was great.
If he set it up, and Michelle's awesome. Michelle's awesome. If he set me up on that, I just wouldn't go to the Zoom meeting. It just wouldn't happen. We are 2 days away from. At least the day that we're recording is 2 days away from opening day. It is Tuesday, March 30th. We are finishing up our final portion of our 3-part season preview. We have what's John's last name? I'm totally blanking. I don't know why.
So we're doing AL West or NL West too, our Best Coast West Coast with Jon Firsch. He is the co-host of the Super Halo Bros, which is a Los Angeles Angels podcast. You can find it wherever podcasts are where you listen. But also we're 2 days away from the season. So, hey,
yeah,
what do we think is going to happen? What are our predictions? So Chris and I are going to talk in the back half about some A's team predictions, as well as cementing what the playoffs are going to look like.
And there's not really any news out of like the spring training camp since our last pod. So we're just going to skip that. And we're going to jump into the West season preview. So here we go. Sweet. All right. So welcome back from that quick intro. The final part of our 3-part MLB season preview. We're going to do the West divisions. Of course, we saved the best for last.
West Coast, son,
is obviously the best coast. We have a special guest this week, a good friend of Julio. So I'll let you introduce him.
Yeah, here is one of my good pals, Jon Firsch, and we've known each other for about 3-4 years now or so. But a little something about Jon. He is a Angel fan, like fanatic, one of the few.
Yes.
But also, he actually started up a new project with him and his brother. They host an Angels fan podcast called the Super Halo Bros. You can find that on anywhere you can find your podcast. You can also follow them on Instagram, and you're on Twitter as well.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such an amazing name, Jon, by the way. Like, it's just fucking, it's just like, just so on point.
Well, and the graphic is excellent too.
Oh, I love it. Thanks, you guys. I appreciate you guys having me on. Yeah, my brother and I, we just found ourselves talking about Halo baseball all the time, texting back and forth. And whenever we're in person, we talk about it. So it was like, you know what? We need to take this energy and put it into a podcast. So that's what we did. And I was like, how do I work brother? The fact that we're brothers into the title. And I was like, Super Halo Bros. There it is. And then my friend, Kalin, she did the artwork, and I'm just so thrilled with it. So, yeah, but I appreciate you guys having me on.
Dude, Jon, that's funny you say that. That's exactly how me and Julio derived this podcast, because I have a separate one that I do that was just like sports talk in general. Mm-hmm. And Julio would always come on there and we talk about baseball. And then we noticed that all of our text conversations were like talking about A's and talking about the league. And we're like, dude, we should just fucking do our own show.
Right. Just make it happen.
Yeah. Because Chris and I have known each other since we were kids, because his brother and I it's funny, actually, we saw each other last night for dinner and stuff.
Yeah.
But I've known his brother since kindergarten. Before we go on to the subject, I think 2021, where everyone's getting vaccinated, the world's kind of getting back to normal. It's all about shooting your shot. And Jon, you have the ultimate Ace or Angels fan shooting your shot. I don't know if you saw this, Chris, but
no,
Jon,
please inform me.
Oh, go ahead and tell him. It's great.
Okay, so Sunday night, Darren Sutton and Mark Gubiza were talking about the Angels that they want to see come back for the Angels' 60th season celebration. And Gooby's great because anytime you tweet him, he always will tweet you back or give you a comment back. It makes you feel good, right? And so I tweeted at him and I said, hey, and I tweeted from our podcast handle and I said, would love to see Weaver come back for the 60 celebration. And I tagged Weaver and I tagged Gooby. Gooby liked it. And then Weaver got on and said, they lost my number a long time ago.
Oh, dude, that's just cold-blooded.
And so I told him, I replied, well, first I was like, oh my gosh. So I texted my brother. I was like, what do I say? Out. So he gave me the words to share. So I tweeted Weaver back and I said, you know what? We'll have you on our podcast and we'll do our own 60th anniversary celebration and you'll be the guest of honor. We won't leave you on red. And he said, no, thanks. But good luck with the podcast, though. So,
hey,
like
why not?
Said,
shoot or shoot.
Shoot or shoot. Shoot or shoot, man. Shoot or shoot. Might be the theme of this podcast. Anyway, Weaver, would you say greatest Angels pitcher of all time?
Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, you got to go Nolan Ryan.
Nolan Ryan had what, like 2 years though, bro? Wasn't he mostly with the Astros and the Rangers?
I think he had about 7 or 8 years with us.
He did play forever, so
yeah. And then you got like Dean Chance. We had John Lackey at one point. I mean, there's just so many great pitchers over the years. And we were talking about this on our podcast in the 90s. I mean, you had Chuck Finley, Jim Abbott, Mark Langston.
Jim Abbott, the one-handed wonder.
Yeah, that's right. And those guys were pitching in the steroid era. So I would love to see, just what their stats might be minus steroids because those guys were really solid.
Weaver had such dirty stuff though, because he never threw like harder than like 89 miles per hour, but he just had such his just repertoire of pitches and just how just dirty they were, and just like you never saw it coming.
Exactly. And he's so tall and deceptive that when he's winding up, he's behind his body and you don't know where that release point's going to be when you're against him. So I think that's why he was so effective for so long. But once he started hitting 82, 83 and just didn't have it anymore, like the off-speed stuff was still there, but just when you have no fastball to rely on.
Yeah.
I mean,
a lot like Barry Zito kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
I would think is a pretty good comparison.
Right.
I had to double check. Nolan Ryan had 8 All-Star appearances as an Angel.
Oh wow. Man,
so,
he played for so long.
Never won a Cy Young. Dude, I can't believe he's never won a Cy Young.
That's such a fucking joke. And he did it from both ends, of the roster. He did it as a closer and he did it as a starter, and that dude never fucking got one. It makes no sense. And like I'm trying to think of like guys who in the past who like legendary pitchers who have done it. I think John Smoltz is the only other guy off the top of my head that I think has gone both ends of the pitching spectrum, and John Smoltz even has a Cy Young. It just absolutely blows my mind.
Who were they giving it to back then? That's what I want to know.
70s, probably. I know Catfish got one.
Yeah.
Raleigh Fingers got one in the 70s too.
No, I think like early 80s because that was when he was with the Brewers.
Oh yeah. That's anyway. We'll reminisce on another episode because obviously we're going to do a lot of collaborations this season because we play each other so much.
Right.
So let's jump into the preview. So, John, you didn't have time to prep rankings and stuff like that, correct?
Yeah, unfortunately, I got the agenda for our podcast from my brother. He sets that up for us, and it was like writing an essay. So
it's all good. You can comment on our rankings and
I would love to.
How you feel about it. All right, Julio, I'm gonna go first. So we'll start with lineups. Start with the NL. This one was pretty easy for me. I felt like they were the best offensive lineup in the league last year. I would say that the second best offensive lineup in all of baseball is number 2 in this spot, but the Padres were 1 for me. The Dodgers were 2. The D-backs were 3. The list falls off quite a bit after that. The D-backs were 3. The Rockies were 4. The Giants were 5. The only reason why I even have the Rockies above the Giants is because of Charlie Blackmon and Trevor Story. Everybody on the Giants is like an aging, like was kind of good player, like not even an aging superstar, an aging except for Buster, an aging like he was pretty good like for a couple of years, like, and so now he's like completely aged and it's just done. Julio, what'd you have?
So I've got flipped a couple spots. I've got the Dodgers 1, Padres 2, the Diamondbacks 3, the Giants 4, and then the Rockies 5. I understand the logic of like, yeah, the Giants, they're just waiting for Brandon Bell and like Brendan Crawford's and Posey's contract to go down. But like overall, I think there's not really like a part of the lineup where you're gonna look and be like, that guy's fucking terrible. It's like, I would, even though Longoria's been kind of beat up, I think he's still pretty serviceable at third. And then like Tommy LaStella there, Wilmer Flores, like they got some depth in the infield and Yastrzemski and right. And like with the Rockies, it's pretty much just like you said it. It's Blackman and Story, and that's what puts them over the top.
I agree. They have some depth. The Giants do. But like at the end of the day, you have to put runs on the board, and there's no one who can hit the ball long to put runs on the board. It's just going to be like a stringing of singles, hoping that you can string up together like 6 hits in a row and maybe a walk to try and bring guys in. Like if you can't get a double, if you can't hit the wall or get it over the wall, you're not going to put runs on the scoreboard. That's kind of was a selling factor for me when, regardless of how shallow the depth is on the Rockies, like with those two guys, like they still play in fucking Coors Field, so someone on that roster is going to be able to hit it out of the park more often than the Giants, at least.
That's what I was thinking too. When you brought up the fact that you put the Rockies ahead of the Giants, like the fact that they're playing in that high altitude at Coors Field, I mean, there's the ball's just going to pop off the bats there, and so you're going to see a lot more offensive production out of those guys for sure.
Yeah.
I go back and forth between the Dodgers and the Padres. If I were to rank them 1 and 2, I think overall I like the Padres as a whole, and I would put them at number 1. But in terms of that lineup, I think you got to go Dodgers.
So why about the Dodgers would you take that one? Is it the depth of the lineup and stuff like that? But like it's just having Machado and Tatis in the middle, it just kind of like sells it for me. There's nobody with that much intimidation for that at that level with the Dodgers. Granted,
you can say that with Mookie and Bellinger.
And
Seager.
That's a good point.
And Will Smith.
I don't know about Seager, man. Seager was awesome last year. He had a good year last year. Bellinger fell off a little bit. That's also where my worry was a little bit. But yeah, definitely with Mookie. Max Muncy doesn't play every day, so that's kind of a weird situation. But that definitely goes back to their depth. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm blinded by the stardom.
I think he's going to be playing every day for the sake of like, and that was the only knock I really had with the Dodgers lineup is like they did lose a lot of depth, with like Jock going to Chicago and then Kike going to Boston. Like you kind of lose some big backup bats in that lineup, but still it's like Gavin Lux was supposed to be a highly touted prospect of the second baseman of the future last year. It didn't pan out at that 60-game season, and he had a great spring. And I think now is probably the time where he breaks out. But it's like, dude, but it really is like pick your poison between these two lineups. There's not a really wrong answer. And that just shows you like how great they both like offensively are going to be this year.
Yeah. And for me, I think there's just a feeling here of every Dodger hitter feels dangerous. Like every single one down that lineup is just like, they have the potential to do something meaningful in the game. And just to face that 1 through 9 is, a tall task, a tall order. So
yeah, as a starter, you never get a break. So I get that.
Right.
Yeah. All right, let's move to the American League. So the Mariners I'm pretty sure they're in last in every single one of my lists. Yep, they are. They're in last for every single one. I don't even know if I couldn't recognize any of the names on their roster, so I don't even know if they made any additions, but we'll save that for the end. Mariners are 5. The Rangers were 4. The Astros were 3, although I contemplated putting them 4 because they lost a important player for them. The Angels are 2, and then obviously the A's are 1. Even with the loss of Marcus Semien, they just did work to figure that one out. Julio?
It's funny. I've actually got the Rangers last and everything. So I've got the Rangers 5.
Interesting.
Yeah, Rangers 5. I got Seattle 4. I've got the Angels 3. And this is my only non-homer. I got the A's 2, and then the Astros 1. The thing is, like, even though they lost George Springer, like that's still an insane, like, offensive potent lineup that, like, Yordan Alvarez barely played last year. He's going to be playing back at their full-time DH slot. The team sounds pretty high on Miles Straw out there, the center fielder of the future, and that's why they let Springer go. And yeah, it's like, I don't think Altuve's, I don't know if he's ever going to hit like 350 like he did, like those, buzzer years. I still think it's
not without the trash can.
Yeah, I think he still will kind of go back to at least like a pretty good hitter and not like he was last year.
Yeah.
And there's just still a lot of pop, as much as I hate to say it, because it's just like, we want them to lose.
Right.
We want to root against them so bad. But last year showed like they can still hit. When they want to hit, they can still hit the shit out of the ball. But that was the only thing we really had. But I was going to say, John, you and I actually talked about Seattle on the side, that like that offense, even though they don't have the names right now,
right?
They're going to be pesky.
They're always pesky, man.
Kyle Lewis, rookie of the year last year. Taylor Trammell is going to be called up.
Yeah, I just don't know if that this year is the year that they're going to be a little bit more pesky. You know what I mean? Like, I just wasn't sold yet.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm also really looking forward to see. I know he's not starting this season with them, but I think they got another rookie of the year candidate in Jared Kelenic. That guy he's got power, he's got speed, he's a lefty, he hits it to all fields. Like, man, he's going to be something special to watch. I don't know. They're not starting out the season with him, like I said, but if they bring him up, I think he could be easily a rookie of the year candidate for those guys.
But that's definitely a contractual thing.
Yeah,
exactly. We'll see him in a month. I guarantee it.
Right.
Now, do you agree with our assessment for the Angels 2 and 3?
Yeah, I think they fit in somewhere around there because, I mean, up and down the line, like, you guys, as an Angel fan, like, I am not worried about our offense. I'm not worried about our production. When it comes to this team, it's just all about that pitching. I don't know if you guys saw, they made a ton of moves, and not to get into bullpen yet, but they made a ton of moves on Monday night to have some depth. But as far as the offensive output goes, I think I would lean more toward a 2, but I could see a 3 just because of I would put them ahead of the Astros, but I would put them behind the A's for sure.
The only thing that concerned me with the Angels is like just the age of their corner outfielders, with like Joe Adell not starting the season on the roster.
Yeah.
Just like it's Desker Fowler and Justin Upton
and there's no consistency with those guys. There's no consistency with those two guys. There's no consistency with fucking anybody on their fucking roster offensively except for Ohtani, Trout, and Rendon. You can make the argument that maybe that's enough, but like, I don't know, man. I look at our roster and like I trust every single player on our starting roster. Like every single player that can get a big hit when you need it.
Well, I always tease Julio about David Fletcher because I told him last year, I was like, watch this guy. And he's just so annoying, especially against the A's. But that guy will always find a way to get on base, and he'll swing out of his shoes. He'll swing at something at eye level and bloop it over the shortstop or over the second baseman. And he just has a funny way of doing that. And then, it seems like they're going to go Fletcher, Ohtani, Trout, Rendon as the top 4. Upton's interesting because Upton is always streaky. You can count on him to give you, he
has been his whole career.
Yeah. And you can count on him to have power for 10 games and then just go cold for 10 games. One thing I'm encouraged by is he's making a lot of contact in spring training. So he's seeing the ball really well, and he's not taking those strikeouts and swinging at junk like he used to over the last year or so. And then I think about Jose Iglesias, man, has been a really pleasant surprise. I really loved Andrelton Simmons' defense, and I think that you get knocked down a few ticks with Jose Iglesias, but his bat is better than Simmons was last year. But also, he's made some crazy plays in spring training. So and you guys are exactly right about those corner outfielders between Upton and Fowler. But we also we have Juan Lagares, who's going to be our 4th outfielder, and
I do like him.
He's been playing. Yeah, he played in the I believe the Dominican leagues over the winter and got an MVP there. And he has just been showing up and being great in the outfield in terms of defense, but his bat has some pop. And I don't think he had that the last time he was in the majors. And so it's going to be really interesting. I would see him starting over Dexter Fowler. Absolutely,
Dexter Fowler 100%. Was a weird move to me in the first place. So Dexter Fowler pretty much had one good season, and it was the season that they won the World Series. Yeah. That's the way that I see Dexter Fowler.
Yeah.
And ever since then, he's been like extremely mediocre. Like, hitting like 220 or something like that.
Right.
And I get it that you need to like fill these roster spots, and he has some speed, and he's above average defender, but I don't know. That was really weird to me, especially when you have like some prospects that you need to develop a little bit, and they need to get major league at bats.
Exactly. I think that was questionable to me too. I think with not having a real minor league season last year, we didn't get to see Brandon Marsh and Joe Adell do or have the development that they needed in the minor leagues. Like, clearly Joe Adell wasn't ready. I think some seasoning in AAA this season to start out the year would be good for him and for Marsh. So I would expect to see one or both of those guys up at some point during the season. And I think Fowler is a culture guy. I think our new GM, Perry Manasian, has been really like trying to develop like a good locker room atmosphere, because it's honestly been lacking. And these last few years have been really pathetic in terms of, team cohesion. So I think if anything Fowler brings to the table is just like a good locker room guy. I think that's the value that he brings. So yeah.
That's the most analysis you will ever hear anywhere in the history of baseball podcasts on the Angels right there. There you go. You got the entire,
except for our
Super
podcast.
Halo Bros.
Yeah. You got the entire clubhouse makeup right there. I want to go back to the Astros real quick because look, it's been a year, so I get that like a lot of people have forgotten about it, but I don't know what Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve, and Yuli Gurriel can do without video evidence helping them every single pitch. Yeah. I really don't. Yuli Gurriel hit 220 last year. Alex Bregman hit 230. Jose Altuve, I mean, I didn't even look up his stats because I just know they're historically fucking god-awful. I mean, Carlos Correa is the only one who like figured it out last year, and Michael Brantley. I like Kyle Tucker. That's great. I like what's his face, the
Kyle Straw,
the rookie sensation DH. I forgot his name already.
Oh, Jordan Alvarez.
Yeah. That's fine. They beat us in the ALDS, but everybody beats us in the ALDS, so that's not that impressive to me.
Yeah.
Until a Billy Bean run A's team finally wins an ALDS, then that'll be impressive to me, but they don't. So
let's remember you guys got in with a winning record last season and they didn't.
Yeah.
Like that's just that makes me so mad. I'm so glad that we're back to normal playoffs this season.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just whatever. They got to prove it to me, and they can also go fuck themselves. With the A's, again, it's exactly what I said. So like when they lost Marcus and they lost Chris Davis, that hurt, but they found guys to fill all those positions that are solid veterans and reliable veterans. So and I don't see a weak position on our roster.
No, yeah. At the end of the day, like Elvis, I think he's probably the biggest X factor. It's like, are we going to get Elvis from like 2-3 years ago where he was in like 280 and he stole 20 bases? Or are we going to get Elvis from, 2019 where he was injured most of the season? I think offensively, to me, we know what the Mats are going to do. We know what Ramon's going to be doing. Piscotty, if he's healthy, he'll be hitting like 20 home runs. Canna, it's just going to be on base machine. And Sean Murphy looks like he's going to be the catcher of the future, and arguably he could be like one of the best catchers in the American League by it all. And it all rides on Elvis. Like if Elvis can get back to what he could be, then it's like, yeah, I wouldn't have a problem putting them.
Can't you make the argument that a winning environment will potentially bring that out of him? Because he's been in a losing environment for the past 4 years, and he's been bad for the past. And actually, he was only bad in 2019. He was pretty decent every other year. And when you're in a losing environment, you don't have much motivation to get out there and try and move runners up and stuff like that. I think he's going to be a completely revamped like leader in this clubhouse. He's going to have so much fun, and he's going to hit in that 2 spot, and it's just going to be perfect for him. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to change. And again, there's only one outlier season in the past 5 seasons, really.
Yep. Yeah. I think it's time to talk some pitching, boys.
Yeah.
Oof. I'll go ahead and lead us off here.
Go ahead.
So I have the Dodgers 1. I have the Padres 2. The Diamondbacks 3. I think this is pretty much the same in every category now that I think about it almost. Diamondbacks 3, Giants 4, Rockies 5.
I have the Rockies 5, the Diamondbacks 4, the Giants 3, Padres 2, and the Dodgers 1. The Dodgers were already so good, and then they added the best pitcher on the market. It's just like fuck. And don't get me wrong, the Padres did work. And if Clevenger's healthy, I might take a second look. I probably would still stick with the Dodgers. But I might take a second look. But they did work in the offseason.
Yeah, I don't imagine Clevenger will come back until next season.
He's out all year.
Yeah,
but still, like they have the wild cards of Mackenzie Gore, and then who's other pitcher, Patino. No, I can't remember who the other, but like they still have like two of their top prospects are both like hurlers. So, but yeah, man, it's just like pick your poison. You're gonna go into 3-game series against the Dodgers. Cool. Well, here's Kershaw, Buehler, Bauer. Oh, well, you make it to 5. All right, cool. Well, here's Julio Urias, who was a World Series hero,
and Dustin May,
and Justin May, and David Price.
Yeah. Oh, and we're gonna pitch. We're gonna pitch Price out of the bullpen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
get the fuck out of here. You guys are fucked.
As good as like the Padres rotation is lights out. It's just like you're in the division with the same, but that was the best. I just want to highlight real quick because I don't really see us talking about it too much. The Giants rotation actually isn't bad.
Yeah.
Like straight up, if you put that Giants rotation with the Angels, like I think that could be like a pretty, like I think the Angels could make a decent run with that rotation. Like Kevin Gausman was super underrated last year.
I'm surprised they didn't trade him because I feel like they could have got a lot of value from him. I mean, good job for keeping him. It worked out. But
yeah. Johnny Cueto.
What are we going to get out of Cueto though? What are we going to get out of him?
If you can get something out of him, then maybe. Anthony DeSclafani is all right. And then Logan Webb, but then Alex Wood too is the 5. Like if he can kind of collect anything, again, I've said like that's a broken record with all this stuff we talk about. It can put up a decent rotation, but it's like I think the Diamondbacks still have the talent ahead of them. The only reason that would probably be hurt a little bit is just because Arizona is not a great pitching park. But like, yeah, the Giants, I'll give them their credit where credit due is for kind of putting a rotation on the budget. They did a decent job.
It seems like they always find a way to just stay in there and hang in there, especially with their rotation. Yeah, I think we'll see more of the same of that. Absolutely.
I don't know if it's going to be enough to like put them over the hump in another 5-team playoff. If there's 8-team playoffs, like they're interesting. But can I just talk about the Rockies real quick? A whole lot of shoulda, coulda, wouldas.
Oh, boy.
What I like to call them. Whole lot of them. Jermaine Marquez. I mean,
Germán,
whatever. Are you for real right now? You were gonna come at me about pronouncing things correctly on this podcast? Wow. Kyle Freeland, John Gray, a whole lot of like high prospects, and then just like above average.
You guys remember when Kyle Freeland finished 4th at Cy Young, like in 2018?
I don't remember that.
What happened?
Was that 2018?
2018 or 2017. It's when they went to a wild card game, and it was it must have been 2018 because that was the first year they did them. Yeah.
There was a lot of talk about Germán Marquez and getting him out of Colorado because his adjusted stats for not pitching at Coors Field are actually really solid. Yeah, and so they're really as an Angel fan, I was crossing my fingers like, can we please trade for him? Didn't happen.
Oh yeah, look at that. He had 17 wins. A 2.8 ERA. That's pretty damn good for Coors Field. Well done. Well done there, Kyle Freeland. Well, too bad you're 3-11 in 2019 and then 2-3. And oh my God, he had a 6 ERA in 2019. Why did they keep starting him? Like, just stop doing it. Like, just save yourself he still did 22 starts. Like, just save yourself the misery. Good God. All right, let's move on to the American League. Wow. I'm just, I'm literally looking at it in real time, so I'm just reacting, and it just blows my mind. Julio, do you want to start off again?
Yeah, man. And actually, I'm listening to you, so I'm doing this the proper way. With 1, I'm giving it to the Rangers. 2 points, I'm giving it to Seattle. 3, I'm giving it to the Angels. 4, I'm giving it to Houston, and then I have the A's as the best rotation.
I have the exact same list.
No conversation with that.
Yeah.
This A's rotation, it's 1, I think we talked about this pre-show. Rotations wise and bullpen stuff, the AL West is not the greatest. Yeah. But I think probably what the highest upside is the A's, because it's like Chris Bassett was a complete breakout last year. Jesus Osorio is pretty much waiting in the rings. If he can consistently show that stuff he's had, he can easily be one of the best pitchers in the American League. And like Sean Manaea has shown a lot of great flashes of that stuff. Frankie Montas, we'll see if he can stay healthy. There's a lot of potential with with this rotation, and especially playing majority of games in Oakland, that's going to help you out.
And there's a lot of depth in this rotation. Like we've been talking about for weeks about Dalton Jeffries and how if he takes that Mike Fiers fifth spot for a couple of weeks while Fiers is rehabbing his injury, it's like I'm not sweating it, as opposed to like maybe in the past I'd be like, fuck, like, God, those are me 2 losses. If it's like what's the dude with the mustache name again? I can't believe I forgot his name.
Oh God, Daniel
Magnan. When Magnan would get brought up to do that, I'd just be like, oh fuck.
Yeah, it's like great. It's gonna be a high scoring game.
Yeah.
Like, every time.
But I mean, yeah, even if Verlander's healthy, like I think the A's are still better. They're the only outlier in this whole division. I think with pitching in general, with both these divisions, it's pretty much the Dodgers, the A's, and the Padres, and then everybody else just takes a massive drop down in general. But yeah, I mean, do we need to talk about this more? I mean, well, actually, John, give us some insight.
I will say before John goes in, if Ohtani goes, and I think this can be a consistent theme as we keep going at this, if Ohtani goes nuclear and he actually becomes a legit ace and has like a 3.5 sub ERA throughout the season, he's healthy, I'll push the Angels up to 2 easily just because of how big of an X factor he is. But like,
actually, and let me say one more thing. I do like the Odorizzi. I never know how to pronounce his name. Odorizzi. Signing. And Lance McCullers is back this year. So
yeah,
there are some
Zach Greinke. They have the names. They have but it's just like, you don't know what you're going to get. It's kind of the same as the A's in a way, but
especially McCullers coming back from Tony John. We don't know. All right, John. Yeah, let's get some Angels.
Well, no, I'm with you guys on putting the A's number 1. I think that they're the most consistent. I would feel the most confident in that rotation on any given night. Speaking to the Halos, like we got a bunch of guys on 1-year deals. We have 1 year left of Dylan Bundy, who actually broke out with us last season because
he was good last year.
He got away from freaking Baltimore, is why he actually had an offense behind him who could get him some runs. But you're right, Julio, in the sense that Ohtani is the really big X factor because everybody is crossing their fingers that he can stay healthy because he can do it on both sides. He can hit, he can pitch. But the pitching is interesting because he started out spring training really solid. The last few days, he's just gotten a little bit wild. I guess he had a blister on Monday, which he said, I'm glad it finally fell off my finger. So it's going to be interesting to see him pitch on Sunday for Sunday Night Baseball against the White Sox too. So he's got a national game. And I'm like, man, just take all the pressure off of Ohtani. Stop putting him under the spotlight until
he's like a freak. He's a unicorn. Like, he's just
everybody wants to see him.
And he's such a moneymaker for those networks. Like,
right.
I mean, he's gonna have to get used to the pressure, to be honest with you, especially if he wants to keep playing both sides of the ball.
And he's coming into the season. It seems like he's handling things a lot better. He said himself, like, I know that I stunk and I know people expected more out of me. So I'm excited to show him what I'm capable of. The Odorizzi signing for Astros was interesting because I was really hoping that the Angels would pick him up, but I got to looking at his stats next to somebody like Alex Cobb, and it was actually really comparable.
Yeah.
Which I was surprised because Cobb is not somebody who's ever stood out to me. And so, I think for the Angels, just being middle of the road with, Ohtani being that X factor, I think is a good assessment because I think the pitching is always the problem with the Angels. It's year after year. So yeah.
And they've tried before, so I don't blame them for like being a little like hesitant, like with CJ Wright,
CJ Wilson,
CJ Anderson, Wilson.
Wilson.
They
got pretty burned on that. Like, I mean, I don't blame them. So, I mean,
actually, CJ was coming off a really solid season with the Rangers, and
he was. That's why he just fell off after like half a season with the Angels. That's what I'm saying. Like that deal at the time was worth it. Was definitely worth it. But it just didn't work out for you guys.
If you look at his numbers more closely, we actually talked about this on our show. Like, I feel like the general consensus is that that it wasn't worth it to us, but his record, especially in 2013, he had his best win-loss record with us. He did really well for us. I wish I had the stats with me, but those are worth a second look because CJ actually performed really well. But yeah, I mean, Artie just doesn't take a risk anymore with pitching. He loves getting his big free agent hitter, as we all know, but as far as pitching goes, it's like, come on, man, jump, like do something.
He does love his hitters, Josh Hamilton.
Oh God. Now that one sucks.
I think we're pretty set. I think we're pretty set rotation wise. Yeah. Any last words, Chris?
Yeah. Let's move on to the pen.
All right. Pen. Let's go to the pen. I'll go ahead and start it off for us. I have in the National League, I have the Dodgers 1. I have the Padres 2. I have 50 feet of crap. I literally wrote it in my notes right there, 50 feet of crap. Diamondbacks, Giants, Rockies.
I have the exact same list again. Yeah, it's
dude, holy shit! It is brutal. Bad for those last 3 teams.
It's brutal.
If I'd have done my homework, I would have the same list as you guys.
I think the Diamondbacks in particular are a lot of he's on that team. Their closers, Joaquin Soria, which is fine, but Joaquin Soria wasn't even a setup man. He was end of the pen guy, but he wasn't even a setup man last year.
Yeah. That's what I was my biggest thing was oh cool, they got some depth with the bullpen and Soria. I'm like, oh no, he's closing.
Yeah, he's their fucking closer, bro.
Good luck. Look, I loved him. He was great. They're just gonna pull. He's not a closer anymore, man.
They're just gonna pull it. They're just going to pull a 2014 World Series. They're going to ride Madison Bumgarner, but not just during the postseason because they won't make it. They're going to do it all season. He's going to pitch every game. It's going to be wild.
That being said, it's really bad back there. Yeah, but I think the Padres do have a ton of depth. I think the problem with me is, and it seems like it's kind of the consensus just from reading a couple beats about it, is they're not really sure about the closure situation yet. I know,
would you
Drew Pomeranz was closing for a minute.
Yeah, if it was your choice, Julio, who would you pick? Would you pick Melanson, or would you go with Pomeranz? Pomeranz used to be a starter though. I don't know if I'm comfortable with him at the closer.
Pomeranz has been pretty good though. He's shown some good stuff. Yeah, I like Pagan as well. Pagan throws. We had him in Oakland for a short time. He throws some heat up there.
The man himself,
Julio. But besides that, Dodgers just still stacked. Even if Kenley, he was still pretty good. Even if we just think of him as being this really choke artist lately, he was still had pretty good last year. And even if that doesn't work out, they brought back Blake Treinen, the Bazooka,
they have David Price,
David Price, and then a couple of low key signings. They got Corey Knapple from the Brewers, who was the old closer before Josh Hader, and then they picked up Tommy Canley from the Yankees, come back from Tommy John. So yeah, it's still stacked.
Yeah.
The selling point for me was Joe Kelly, and he will fuck with anybody. So you don't fuck with him. No. Go ahead, John.
Trying to get anything.
Oh no, I'm with you guys on that. Like I said, if I'd have done my homework, I think I would have come up with the same assessment. And again, I go back to the Dodgers. You have David Price coming out of the bullpen. That's how deep your starting rotation is and your bullpen. So, man, it's just gonna be so hard to overcome those guys. I'm excited for what the Padres can do, but I think the Dodgers are still the king of that division.
How long do you guys think that lasts? How long does David Price stick in the bullpen? When do you think that they give up on Dustin May? Realistically, probably Dustin May, because he was in the bullpen in the postseason last year, so he's used to that role. When do you think they're let's switch it back?
I don't know. Well, because David Price was a reliever. He started his career when in the 08 Rays, he was their prime reliever at that
their
season.
World Series run. Yeah.
I don't know, man. They just seem like one of those teams where it's they're kind of just the Warriors from 4 or 5 years ago, where you're yeah, fuck yeah, I'll take a lesser role so I can, I'm pretty much going to be in a World Series. And at David Price at this point in his career, he's a Cy Young winner. He's a World Series winner. There's going to be debate if he's going to be a Hall of Famer. We'll see what happens over the next 5-10 years. It's what else do you have to lose, man?
Yeah, I think he knows his role on this team. And I think that's important, is to know exactly where you belong. And for him, I saw an article, I forgot where I read it, but he was yeah, I'm fine with coming out of the bullpen.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like he also doesn't give a shit because he's still getting paid $20 million a year.
Right.
I think this one's gonna be pretty easy.
Yeah, this is 50 feet of crap. This is the A's and then 50 feet of crap. It's I have the A's 1, the Astros 2, the Rangers 3. The Angels 4, the Mariners 5, and I could be talked into switching around that list in any way, shape, or form from 2 to 5. Your microphone's on mute, Julio. So great job.
Nope, sorry. I have Texas 1, Seattle 2, Angels 3, Houston 4, and then like A's 5, but like it's like miles ahead just because man, like
Rosenthal.
We were so bummed out. Like we're so bummed out about losing Liam. We're a little bummed about losing Soria, but then it's like cool, we're plugging in Trevor Rosenthal and Sergio Romo, and then also we're bringing in Adam Kolarek, another lefty.
Did you guys bring back Yusmeiro Petit?
Yeah,
we did. Yes,
nice. I love that guy.
There. And Birch Smith is healthy again.
Bad Birch alert. First one of the season.
It like John, we were talking about it like I think 2 podcasts ago. Pretty much when you lose what I think was the best closer in the league in Liam Hendricks.
Yeah.
Which realistically you're not going to pay him his $30 million or whatever. The A's historically never pay closers also.
Right.
They got the next best thing. They got the best available closer on the market, arguably a top 5 closer last year in the league.
Yeah,
he
absolutely.
was fantastic. So it's like, it was like a definitely and then like when that happens, like, oh, okay. Like it was just like an instant, like right back up.
You guys had such an interesting off season because it was like, all right, A's, like, hello, wake up, like poking them with a stick, and then all at once it just came, all the pieces fell into place.
We didn't do a pod for like a month and a half because we had nothing to talk about during the offseason.
Or we would do pods and it would just be bullshit.
Yeah. and then our first one back, because they made like 5 moves in like 7 days, it was like 2.5 hours long. Right. There's just so much shit.
Now, it's the depth is there. It's just like, if things line up the way they have been the last couple of years with their bullpen, like I think this is probably going to be like the best bullpen in the American League. Like the only team you can really see being a competition is maybe like Tampa and New York. But it's like they don't have a if the guys kind of pitch to where they have in the past, like they don't really have a hole.
Yeah. Quick March Madness update: UCLA just beat Michigan, so they're going to the final.
Oh shit! Oh, that's
beat
awesome.
by 2 points. Wow. All right. Should we move on to additions?
John, you got to think real quick. I know Angels bullpen, they added. We got some pieces.
Yeah, we got Raisel Iglesias. We got in a trade with the Reds, and I was actually surprised at how sneaky good he was in terms of closing. Like he was up there with Hendricks and Rosenthal last season. It was like, what the heck? And we gave the Reds Noé Ramirez, who was the only reliever on our team who would actually throw at the Astros for taking out Jonathan Lucroy in 2019. They actually just released Noé Ramirez. So we got him back on a minor league deal. So we essentially didn't give anything up for our closer. But on Monday, you guys, they brought in Steve Cishek, and I'm trying to think of the other 2 pieces that they brought in, but basically they added a bunch of depth, and they actually were not afraid to move somebody like Ty Buttrey, who has been good in the past, and he got options. So he is going to start in the minors, or at the alternate side, I guess. So I what I like about what's going on with the Angels right now is it doesn't seem like they're messing around with like, keeping guys around who don't need to be there, or maybe need some more time in the minors. All that to say, like, I feel pretty comfortable with the moves that they made on Monday night, just to add some depth, because I think what we're going to see across the board in the majors is because these guys have to cover so many more innings than last season and they aren't quite as stretched out. I think we're going to see a lot more injuries. And so I think the more pieces that every team in MLB has to play with, they're just looking for depth and bodies to fill those roles. And I think that's kind of what the Angels did here. So they brought up their WAR in terms of bullpen to like 2.6, which is way up from wherever, I forgot where it was before, but it was like a huge boost just by adding those 3 guys on Monday. So yeah, middle of the road. I think I'm more confident than I have been in past seasons, so it'll be interesting.
That kind of a great segue into our next topic, which was off-season additions. Wow, look at that. You didn't even know. So for the National League, I have the Rockies with 1 point, the Diamondbacks for 2 points, the Giants with 3 points, the Dodgers with 2 points or 4 points, and then Padres just knocked it out this offseason. So
we keep on copying each other with our NLS. I have the exact same thing.
Were you looking over my shoulder when I was doing this? Just virtually looking over my shoulder?
Yes, I was.
Is it all the same name at the top as well?
Yeah. It's just like, I mean, if you were to do Bauer, then like they would win. But then it's like, oh, that's right. The Padres got Darvish and Snow. Win. Like, it's just like that was it. That was the selling point for me. So Dodgers got an ace, and then the Padres got 2 aces. It's just wild. And the rest were like, and I don't know, they're underwhelming, but I think Tommy La Stella fits with the Giants really well, which is the reason why I put them above the D-backs and the Rockies. And then the Rockies lost their best player. So you lose points.
Pathetic.
You lose points for me. Yeah.
They get negative points for them.
Yeah, picking up La Stella. Alex Wood, I'm interested to see what he can do.
And Alex
again,
Wood,
like kind of just like this is kind of his last shot. And yeah, it's kind of, they built a team where like there's not really a terrible person in a spot, or there's like a real big flaw. But I think the one low key signing, it was super overshadowed because of the Snell and Darvish deal. Was, I'm probably gonna butcher this name, Ha-Seong Kim. He was the South Korean player that he just came over for the KBO. And like during his time in the KBO, he was just like an absolute monster. Take it with a grain of salt, just because KBO has historically been a very offensive driven, as I'm sure we all watched a bunch of KBO last season. It's very offensive driven.
They usually do pretty well, don't they? But yeah, I guess it's only on the offensive end.
Yeah, very offensive driven. And like pitchers, not as much. So outside of like Jim Ryu. But yeah, I think he could be an X factor because like Jay Cronenworth did great last year, and that's as a second baseman as Rook. But if you have a guy who really was super comparable in another league, like why not take that shot?
Yeah.
All right, now let's go to the American League West.
Well, did you have any thoughts on that, John?
Oh man, there was so much starting pitching available out there in terms of trades and free agency, and San Diego nabbed them all up. So I was a very bitter Angel fan.
Yeah. And Joe Musgrove too.
Joe Musgrove. Yeah. That was another one we were looking at. So I don't know. But yeah, Padres definitely win that one. 100%.
So American League West at 1 point, Rangers, 2 points. I have Seattle. 3, I have Houston. 4, I like the Angels. And then I gave the A's 5. I think that's already the same.
I'm the same, but I swapped the Mariners and the Rangers. I didn't. I mean, maybe the Mariners. I don't know. I mean, I didn't recognize anybody. So
they brought back James Paxton, who
it's not an addition though.
Yeah, no, he is. He came back from the Yankees.
Yeah, you're right.
The definition of an addition.
Yeah. Oh shit, you're right.
Yeah, but got him back for cheap. He
was on the Yankees for like the past 2 years.
Isn't that crazy?
He was hurt. And I'm interested to see if like he can kind of reclaim some of that magic back, because that somehow always happens.
Yeah.
But just see it, Texas didn't do anything. To me, I think Texas might be the. There's gonna be some pretty bad teams this year.
They traded Lance Lynn to the White Sox. I don't know who they got in return. If
Dane Dunning.
Dane Dunning. Didn't they get Dane Dunning and who else? I'm looking up their roster right now.
It's going to be
Chris Davis. They're not going to be
Chris
a
Davis.
good team.
And David Dahl, right? Or was David Dahl on their team last year?
No, they signed him as a free agent.
Yeah.
Besides, like, anyway, I feel like we're taking too much time to talk about the Rangers.
Those small moves. David Dahl.
It's not going to be a fun
from the fucking
year for the
Rockies.
Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't. The Angels actually made some interesting moves, but like the A's just like they overwhelmingly made moves that it's just like it's how do you not put them at first?
And at some spots it's an upgrade. Like I think Mitch Moreland's an upgrade right now over Chris Davis,
which hurts to say because of how good of a DH he was for 3 years, but he's just been so bad the past 2 that it's just like you need to get a consistent guy in there to clean up those runners on base.
Yeah, it's like TJ McFarland, cool. Well, we're Adam Kolarek, you got another lefty coming out of the pen, and then I think Romo and Soria are kind of a 1-for-1. Yeah. And then Rosenthal, we'll see about that one. But they made a lot of.
You could argue that's a 1-for-1 too.
A lot of but there was but there was a lot of great moves. I was really surprising what they did, because it was really depressing at the beginning of the year on this podcast. But dude, John, I thought the Angels made a lot of really at least rotation wise, they made a lot of really comparable pickups.
Yeah, this is the best offseason we've had in terms of pitching for a while. I was not thrilled with Alex Cobb getting traded over to us until I saw that I think the bread and butter for him is going to be that ground ball rate and the defense behind him with Fletcher and Rendon and Iglesias behind him. I think that's going to be a huge difference. I love Jose Quintana, man. I think that he is looking to put in the work and bounce back. And I don't think he's going to be as good as he was, of course, with the White Sox, but at the same time, he's better than any other piece that we've had in a long time. And then again, trading basically nothing for Raisel Iglesias. So we haven't had a solid closer in a long time. I think they tried Ty Buttrey in that position. They tried Cam Bedrosian once. And the thing I like about what we've done is we let so many guys walk away from the bullpen. And so it's just a completely different look, save for a few guys that I really like. I think Jaime Barria is going to be in there. Julio and I have a great memory with Jaime Barria and trying to get to the Angel Giants game while Brandon Belt fouled off 21 pitches or something and set the record. But it was pretty crazy. I'm excited for the pen. I think that they're in way better shape than they've been in the last few years. And then out of nowhere, adding those three guys on Monday night was really solid. So, but I'm with you guys. I think middle of the road, maybe even two, as far as additions, but, man, I like the 1 year deals that they gave just to say, all right, like, let's give it a shot. Let's invest in what we can and, see where it takes us in this year. And then when Albert's off the books, then we'll have a lot more money freed up. My dream, you guys, is that Albert Pujols is the player to be named later in the Dexter Fowler trade so that he goes back to St. Louis to finish.
That would be great. That'd be such a happy ending.
And we can kiss him goodbye. And I got to thinking about it. The way that they love him is the way that St. Louis loves him is the way that I feel like Angel fans love Mike Trout. So even if Mike Trout was terrible at the end of his career and had like 2 months left, I'd be like, yeah, bring him back. Why not?
One before we kind of close this out, I think one low key signing I didn't realize till looking over this. Seattle signed Ken Giles as their closer, so I'm like,
oh, interesting.
Yeah, right. So yeah, there are some sneaky pickups over there, but again, I think it was pretty overloaded. Chris, it's time to reveal our final numbers. I'll go ahead and lead off with the National League with the whopping 4 points. The Colorado Rockies on last at the 9 points. The San Francisco Giants at 11 points have the Arizona Diamondbacks. 17 points was the San Diego Padres, and then 19 I had the Dodgers winning the division.
I didn't do my math, so I'm trying to do it right now. 1 second.
Got it. I'll cover your ass for a second then. Honestly, I think the Diamondbacks. I was looking at that.
I got it for the NL. I gotta do it again for the AL. I have the Dodgers in first with 18. I have the Padres in second with 17. I have the D-backs in third with 11. I have the Giants in fourth with 9, and I have the Rockies in fifth with 5. I actually didn't do the Rockies I did the Mariners in last place and everything. But yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know, John, do you have any difference between 1 and 2? Because that's pretty much what's going to be the difference maker.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be Dodgers number 1 and Padres wild card.
If I had to pick a dark horse from this division, even though I kind of talked about it's not going to happen, but even though I talked about the Giants, I would still leave the Diamondbacks. I think if you can kind of get another season out of Bad Bum, they have some pretty decent young guys at the top of the rotation as well.
They need some help in that pen, man. They need some help in that pen.
Yeah, the pen's a little worrisome. Obviously, this isn't going to happen because just the two teams in front of them are just the two best teams in baseball. But in a crazy world where everybody gets Tommy John and the Dodgers, then maybe.
God.
Yeah. Would you agree with that, Chris? How do you feel? Or dark horse?
With the dark horse. No, I actually think it's the Giants. They're very consistently above average in their entire lineup, and I think their rotation has a lot of veterans with potential looking for bounce back seasons, which is interesting. And I don't know, man. I mean, again, they need to find a way to bring runs in because none of their guys really have pop, and that's a problem for them. And I'm sure Giants fans are gonna use their stadium as a excuse for that, but that you're just wrong. I don't know what else to tell you.
Bonds.
Yeah, you're just fucking wrong. Oh, triples alley. I don't know, dude. Go fuck off. Like it's just that's not true. Like there's people who can hit home runs in there. Buster Posey hit 25 a season for his first 4 seasons. Like it's just the guys that they have. I think like Yaz and like what is it? Wilmer Flores. I think
Alex
the only
Dickerson.
Guys. Who?
Alex Dickerson.
Does he hit home runs? I don't know.
He can.
Wilmer Flores was the guy I was thinking of. Those are the only guys who really like hit above 20 home runs a season. Yeah. I love Yaz though. I think Yaz could hit 30 this year, but
yeah, he's gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
I think they'll be fun to watch. And see where they end up.
I just think the NL is so tough, like for those specific wild card spots, because there's 2 or 3 powerhouse teams that are probably going to get second place in the East or in the West. So it's just like you're just kind of fucked. Like to be honest with you.
Yeah.
All right. So with the American League West, John, the reason we brought you here, I have the Rangers in last. Yeah, I have the Rangers in last with 4 points. The Mariners in 4th with 8. The Angels in 3rd with 13. The Astros in 2nd with 16, and then I have the A's at 19 points. But I will say, Chris, is your math ready?
My math is ready.
All right, go ahead.
Perfect 20, baby. I called it last podcast, and it happened. Not even, I mean, kind of a joke. It's kind of a bit, but it's also not. Perfect 20 for the A's, baby. In second place, I have the Angels with 12. That was shocking. The Astros in second, sorry, with 14. That was wrong. The Angels with 12. The Rangers with 10. And the Mariners with 4. Yeah, sorry about that, John.
Yeah. I think this is might be like top to bottom. This might be like the best Ace team with Bomel at the helm. There's not like there's a lot of potential in a lot of these guys, and like dude, if Matt Olson hits like 40 plus home runs and Matt Chapman hits 30 plus, and and they play excellent infield offense or defense, and the rotation comes along, like this is a super talented team.
I disagree. I think 2014 pre Lester trade. That
we'll see, dude. We'll see. I think they could be there. But John, you got me.
When the Pacoda projections came out and you guys, they had the A's in 3rd, that didn't make sense to me.
They're stupid.
And I disagree with it. I think that what I would like to see and what I feel confident in, I think that the Angels and the A's are going to be competing for 1 and 2 like pretty consistently over this season. I think, I don't know. I don't believe in the Astros. I mean,
I don't either, but subconsciously, apparently I do.
Well, I mean, scoring it the way that you did, it makes sense for them to.
And that was the point of this exercise, really.
Yeah. It kind of gives you it's more fact driven than feelings driven, and maybe I'm speaking feelings driven here, but I really think that like it's going to be really competitive between the A's and the Angels, and I think it's going to be really exciting to watch, honestly. You guys always give us a run for our money, and vice versa, and Julio and I love texting back and forth during those games.
Yeah, I bet.
Now, I will say my dark horse would be the Angels, but absolutely. I think it all comes down to Ohtani. If Ohtani really becomes that dude and he finally lives up to the hype, then yeah, man, I can see them going for this division, because it's like we've seen what he can do in blips. He is that good at times, and it'll be hard to compete with he could easily be the best pitcher in this division if he really wants to be. If he can stay healthy and if he can show his slider's working, his fastball's going, but it's just like it's a lot. It's a lot to ask for.
And it's all specifically on the pitching side. That's the whole thing. That's why Ohtani's so important. Is like if he can be that ace, then he's a game changer. If he, can't hit, it's not the end of the world. They have some decent talent over there.
Plenty of production.
To put offense on the board, but it's the pitching side. It's just so questionable that he's so important. I think
they've been very, very careful, especially when he came into the league in 2018. They were very careful about how they handled him. You know, it was like, all right, you're going to pitch and then you're not going to hit the day before or the day after. But like, Madden has said, no, that there's no kid gloves. The gloves are off. Like Ohtani is going to be in charge of his career. So I'm interested to see what that attitude brings to the table for this season, because it's like, you know, let these guys be in charge of their own career and let them take, you know, the steps that they need to take to get better and show people what they're made of. And I think Ohtani is ready to do that. So it'll be interesting. Yeah. I'm hopeful. I'm more hopeful than I've been when Brad Osmus was our manager. Good God. Our last full season with that guy. Ugh.
I think that's going to do it for this segment. I don't know. Julio, do you have anything more to add?
No, that's pretty much it. But yeah, John, so glad you finally
came on.
Dude. I'm sure you're going to be on here. Sure, you're going to be on here again and vice versa. Before we go ahead and plug the show again. Go ahead and give a little shout outs to what you guys got going on over there.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me on, Chris and Julio. It's Super Halo Bros, a Los Angeles Angels podcast. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Find us on Twitter at Super Halo Bros. Find us on Instagram at Super Halo Bros. I appreciate you guys having us on, and we'll definitely have you guys on our podcast.
Yeah, we'll do some cross episodes.
I like that.
Then once we're all vaccinated,
series,
once we're all vaccinated, back in Angel Stadium, getting some $5 Budweisers, man. The best beer deal in baseball.
I remember them being expensive.
Dude, $5 Budweiser cans.
That's what's up. Are they like the tall cans too?
No, come on.
Okay. Well, fellas, I'm going to Angels Astros on the 5th. So if you want me to, if you have any messages for me to give to the Astros, I'll be there to deliver them.
I will be there on Thursday at opening day, so I'll tell them to fuck off before you, and then you can tell them to fuck off.
Are they opening against the A's? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's gonna be fantastic. Man. I cannot wait.
It's gonna be a good time.
I love it.
All right. Well, thanks again, John. And so everybody stick around. We're gonna do. Me and Julio are gonna do some preseason bold predictions and some team predictions real quick. Then we'll close out the pod. So stick around and we'll be right back.
And once again, just want to say thanks, John. Good pal. Can't wait to be back in Angel Stadium with him. But yes, that is a true story, Chris. We were at one of the longest at-bats in baseball history, where it was like, Brandon Belt hit like 21 foul balls off. But it was also one of the saddest games I've ever seen, because I saw a guy blacked out drunk in right field, burning in the sun, and he was so drunk his family just left him there.
Wow. That's just sad.
Angel Stadium.
I hope I'm never that guy.
And it got to the point where we left the section. We told security, I'm like, hey, you need to go help this guy.
In real time, how long was that at bat? Like, was it like 15 minutes?
Let me tell you this. So we were driving from, again, LA freeway talk. I'm sure Larry and Gurprin really hated that from last night. But we were coming over from Pomona area. So we're like by UC, or we're by Cal Poly Pomona, because we were running late. Mm-hmm. And by the time the at bat finished, we were by like Raging Waters.
Okay.
So it was like a good 10, 15 minutes.
Damn.
And it was like, we might get there. The games might be there on time still.
Did Brandon Belt lead off?
Yeah. Cause remember it was 2018, 2018, where he was like hitting leadoff for some reason. Cause the Giants were like, I don't know what the fuck we're going to do.
That's weird. Anyway. All right, let's get into some season predictions, and we'll wrap this bad boy up. Yeah.
Bold predictions.
Let's start with. Yeah, let's just start with that. Let's start with who we think our season MVP is going to be for the A's. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
I have Mark Canha. I think Mark Canha is hugely important to this team on both sides of the ball and in the clubhouse. So I know that Alex talked about how it's going to be like a combination of guys filling that leader role for Marcus, with Chapman was the vocal leader and Chad Pinder was a kind of like a quiet leader. The guy who has been, I mean, I guess Jed is kind of the guy now that's been there the longest since he's back, but the guy who actually has been there the longest without 10 years difference in the middle is Mark Hanna. He came with Marcus when same season, off season, came over kind of when the team was making that rebuild and they were kind of building around Marcus, and he was one of the guys they're going to like kind of put next to him. He's going to be our leadoff hitter this year. I think his plate discipline is going to be very important as a leadership factor for the young guys, because we strike out a lot and it looks like we're still striking out a lot, which is a problem. So yeah, I think he's going to be hugely important, and his defensive versatility in the outfield with injuries. That another thing about Mark Hanna, he's Mr. Reliable. The guy's never fucking hurt, damn near, knock on wood. And for him, you know, he can just plug into any of those spots out there and cover for guys. So yeah, I think he's going to be our MVP. And I'm doing this in terms of like the actual word value, not like our best player. Like the player that we are going to value the most this season.
I love it. I love that pick. I wasn't expecting him, but yeah, there's been, you know, I'll talk all spring training just about him being in the leadoff role, and we know how much of like an on-base monster he is. And I believe it was it 2018, 2019 where he hit like 25 home runs. Like if he can get that offensive production and the leadoff role, like fuck, like that's going to be excellent. And
exactly.
I'm interested to see what he's going to be doing with like the base stealing aspect of it all. He's never been that kind of guy, but I know Elvis
like steal bases. Man.
Yeah, but like historically, Elvis Andrus has been like an awesome base stealer.
Yeah.
So like, and I'm sure, and there were some talks earlier. I think Alex Coffey actually wrote about it, or one of the beat reporters. I'm pretty sure it's her because I'm reading some of her stuff. But like Matt Chapman was getting a lot of pointers about stealing bases because he's got like deceptive speed, and then Canna could potentially do that. So it'll be really cool. I love the choice. For me, I'm going Matt Olson. I think last year was a bit of we all know, disappointment season. He still had the power, but his average, he is not a 220 hitter like he had been. And if you look at previously in his career, he hasn't been that. It looks like he's fixed whatever problems he had when it came to hitting in this past offseason. He had an excellent spring training, and it shows me that like, I think he's ready just to really prove himself. I could see him breaking out to the point where it was like, you know, his Jose Abreu last year. Jose Abreu has always been pretty good, but then he turned into like another level MVP season. Yeah. And with Matt Olson, if he can hit 40 home runs, if he can hit 280, 100 RBIs, and play Gold Glove defense like he has been, especially with the rest of that defense in the infield, I wouldn't be shocked if he's MVP. I know we were joking about it with Robbie Schlatter. Shout out to the Ford Train Savages. I think he could be the MVP this year if he really hits on all those like parts that make him great. Like, I think he's gonna be the guy.
He's just so streaky, man, and like he's got to cut that shit out if he really wants to be an MVP, because MVP conversations are just so streaky as well. They're all over the place, and if you're consistent and you're helping your team win and they're in first place all season, that's going to be a good case for those writers to vote for you in actual MVP and also be the best player on the team. Like that shit drives me crazy. He's just got to be consistent. If he's consistent, then yeah, he definitely can do it. I think he's I think he's probably the number one contender pick this season for people who are out there who wanted to pick this award, because he's having such a great spring. He's hitting the shit out of the ball, and he's hitting for high average. So, and he's definitely had a rough season last year, and it's time to turn around. And also a lot of pressure on him because to kind of be the main dog, because Matt Chapman's coming off of an injury. We don't know what he's going to be this year, and we don't know if he can, you know, come back so quickly. But, yeah,
dude, he hit 36 home runs in 127 games in 2019.
I know. I feel it.
Yeah,
it's
just yeah. No, yeah.
All right, let's move on to Cy Young, or best pitcher, I guess you could say. I think this is Luzardo's year, man. I really do. And we always see young pitchers like this. They have like a breakout rookie season, and then it's like their third season or fourth season that they really just fucking like, you know, catch up with the rest of the pack. And I think that's going to be this for him. Like I could see him winning like 18 games with like a mid 2 ERA. I really do. And especially a full season into. With Bassett kind of like being the ace and taking the pressure off him. I'm all in on Luzardo this year.
Yeah, it's totally agree. I had Jesus written down as well. Shout out to Jake Diekman because I feel like he's also going to be somebody who's going to be super important in that setup role. And if Rosenthal ever slips in the season, like he has a couple times in his career, we know we're confident with like Jake Diekman taking that closer role. But yeah, Jesus is his ERA hasn't been the best in spring, but the Ks are up. And if that turkey sub really is as delicious as it looks to the opposing hitters, then man, we're going to be having some great shit coming from him just because like he's going to be throwing 97, 98 and then coming back with you with a 65 mile per hour curveball. Like, what are you going to do with that? Like, how do you kind of mentally prepare for that? And I think another factor with this too, I don't know how good we had a whole preview talking about the West. I don't know how good this division is going to be offensively. I think Texas is going to be pretty bad this year.
Yeah, he's going to dominate these fuckers, except for like maybe the Angels.
Yeah. Houston, we'll see a full year, not cheating. What's going to happen? Seattle's not there yet. I think next year, in a couple more years, they're going to be, they have a really good core growing. But he looks like the guy who's ready. If he stays healthy, he can be consistent and not give up like a ton of walks like he had last season. He's going to be lights out. I can't wait to see him pitch.
Yeah. All right. So, we'll do breakout candidate and then we'll, talk about the betting side of it. So my breakout candidate, this one's going to be tough. This one was tough for me because I don't necessarily know if there is a breakout candidate. So like it was kind of a reach for me, but I think Sean Manaea, he had a really good rookie year. He had an injury-ridden second year, so we didn't really get to see his full potential. And then last year he was up and down, and he figured it out second half. He's coming off an injury, so I get it. But I think, so him, Puck, and Luzardo are the future of our team, rotation-wise. I really think he's going to cement himself as that number 2 guy. I really do. Two lefties at the top of the rotation is nasty. Yeah. So it was. I couldn't think of like a really like clever one, but that one was mine. I like Sean. I thought he's funny too.
Buddy Reed. No. Once he got hurt, the spring training hype went down. I got Chad Pender. I think just
he's in a good position to do that.
Yeah, he's in the position to do it. Yeah, I think he came in the clutch. We wouldn't have gone into the LDS if it wasn't for him hitting the the go ahead runs in the wild card games.
Yeah.
And I think the team and Bomo specifically so confident with him that he's going to be out there every day. Whether it's going to be on left, if Piscotty needs a rest and right, we're going to put him in at second.
He's killing it in the spring. He deserves to be out there every day.
Excellent spring. If Elvis gets hurt, we can slot him in there, and it's going to probably take him a few more days for him to adjust. But I think if he can really hit like 20 home runs and hit like 260.
Yeah.
And like play some like solid defense, he could be a huge X factor. I think if you look at all these great teams over these last few years, when you think about the Dodgers with guys, like Kike and Jock Peterson, you think of just like more of those. So the utility, all like, the Ben Zobrist kind of is like the blueprint of it all. Those teams will have those kind of great players in those positions. There's a reason why they're great, because they have the depth, and he has that potential to be there. All of his for some reason, man, all of his home runs just are absolute bombs. He just hits it so hard, and that's a great thing.
And he's like small too, so you don't expect it.
And that's going to be pretty interesting to see, because it's like John talked about it earlier. The Angels infield defensively is going to be really good. We know Houston's going to be defensively, even then at infield. Seattle's got some pretty good guys defensively in the infield as well. So when you have somebody like that who's going to make pure hard contact every at bat, it's going to be a difference maker. So I'm excited for him. I really hope he really steps up. He kind of deserves a spotlight. We've been talking about him for so long. And I think this could be a season where he really kind of goes over the top with it.
I dig it a lot. I mean,
Wipe right, baby.
I had a feeling you were gonna pick that, which is kind of why I wanted to steer away from it. Because I think he's the only obvious candidate. You know, maybe like
Kai Tom.
Yeah, but when Laureano comes back, I mean,
well, Laureano is back, but it's just like he's not going to be an everyday guy. So it's like someone's got to go out for him to get that.
Come back
last week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but like somebody has to get her for him to get his opportunity. Whereas Pinder,
the
opportunity is going to be there for him as long as he just performs.
Yeah. All right. So Caesars William Hill Sportsbook has the A's at 86.5 wins this season. That is atrocious. That is just absolutely fucking ridiculous. This is my opinion, at least. I have them going way over 86 wins. I don't know. What do you, especially in the division that's like not good? Like, how do they have 86 wins? Like, this is like,
yeah.
If you're a bettor, like, make that futures bet right now. I wonder what the odds are. I'm gonna look it up while you talk.
Yeah, you're gonna look it up and I'll talk. It's weird. I feel like if you're like a consistent bettor, I feel like the A's would be your favorite team when it comes to futures because it's like it seems like year after year they're getting these kind of lowish projections. But like I think why they'll get over that 86 mark is like just the depth of rotation.
Yeah.
I'd say more not necessarily the depth, but more so like the consistency of it. There's not really any guys that you see on there. Like Mike Fiers will have a start or two where he kind of blows himself up. But we know what we're going to get out of him. He's a historically fly-ball pitcher playing in Oakland. Jesus, we've talked about how high he's going to be on there. And just the offense, again, there's not really many holes. If Matt Chapman even if he regresses to what he was last season, which was kind of a fluke because he was injured, his defense is still going to save him there. It's like Elvis Andrus, same thing. Jed Lowry, if he gets hurt, well, cool. Tony Kemp has been a pretty serviceable guy last season. And then Chad Pender, we know we can do at second as well. And plus, like Sean Murphy looks like he's going to be the man. So, yeah, I don't see like they're just a really deep team. So to have them at 86.5, maybe just because they don't really have the names yet outside of the Mats. I think on a national scale, if you're just kind of a more casual baseball fan, you may not know about how great Chris Bassett was last season or about the hype for Sean Murphy. Like probably the third most well-known ace player for the rest of the country is probably Ramon. And that's because he got in a fight last season.
And because he's a highlight reel with his arm.
Exactly. Did you find the odds yet?
No, I can't find them. I'm looking on Bovada and I can't find them. So I just Googled it and it looks like, okay. So ESPN has it. Let me just scroll down.
So, because I pulled these odds up on
they're 18-1 for, it moved. It moved to 87.5. It went up. So that means that there's been some action on 86 or on the over.
So, my MG, good.
It's at 18-1 now. To win the AL, they're 9-1. It opened at plus 850. Fuck, down so much. It's not that anymore. Go ahead.
Bet MGM, 86.5 over is negative 125. Under is 105. So in your perspective, how would what would make them hit the unders? What would happen where shit would fall apart? Besides injury.
Oh, I don't have a good one. I literally don't. Well, Altuve, Gurriel, and Bregman apparently don't need cheating to be good baseball players, but even that, I mean, they probably still hit like 89 wins. I would say at least with how shitty the rest of the division is. Like, no offense, John, but like your team ain't that impressive. Like, I don't know what to say.
Two couple of factors is if the bullpen starts showing their age. I think we got some older dudes there. We got Petit, we got Romo.
But we have depth to fill those spots.
But it's like I'm saying, I don't think it's going to happen. But like, if it happened, what would you think would happen? Why? What would you think would be happen? To me, it's like,
I get what you're saying. I just can't think of a rational one. I feel like you're reaching with that one.
But the other thing is, if our rotation's not ready. If Puck comes up, he's not there yet. If Luzardo's inconsistency continues,
Puck isn't expected to be part of the rotation, though.
Yeah, but just if you're going to be there, if like Fires just keeps giving up bombs, that's the only way I can see them kind of going 86.5, because offensively, they've never been a high average team, but they've always been getting on base. They hit for power. To me, it really just relies on, like, if this happens. I don't think it's not going to me.
I don't mean to be dismissive, because I know you want it to be a talking point, but like it's just like it's absolutely atrocious. Like that there's nothing I can think of other than injuries. Like there's literally nothing. Like, because I feel like the young rotation has proven last year that they are that good.
You know what it is? It's kind of, to me, what's happening, because I didn't see what the Astros were at, but I'm assuming they have them as the favorite and BetMGM. I think it's just kind of like the legacy effect, because it's like I know you gamble pretty consistently as well.
Yeah, the Astros are at 88 wins.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not a lot. Okay.
No, I don't think Vegas feels too highly of this division.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of the legacy thing, because again, we both kind of gamble consistently still. It's like look at the Warriors. If you look at the Warriors betting over this past season, there's some lines when you're like, that's way too favorite for the Warriors, when we know like we've watched enough Warriors basketball, like they're going to lose this game kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think it's just because of that legacy, because I think they're more playing on like the dummies who are like Houston Astros. Yeah. Okay. I think that's it's like, because reality is, I think if you talk to people who really know their shit and pay attention to baseball, they're going to tell you like, yeah, I think the A's are going to run away with this division.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I think that'll do it. Do you have any other things you want to predict how many wins?
So, so what we're going to do right now, we're going to say our win total, and then we'll talk playoff projection after we talk about our division winners. It'll take a couple moments, but I have the A's winning 95.
I'm winning 96. So I've made it a little conservative. I don't think they're going to win quite the 100 games like they have in the past. But yeah, I have 96 because I think that's reasonable for a division winner. Yeah.
And I think just the bottom of that division, those bottom two, I think they're going to be pretty bad unless, Marco Gonzalez is going to be kind of the outlier with Seattle, but it's like, I think they're probably going to be able to beat up on those teams. And
I also don't think they're as good as they were last year. Like last year in a full season, I would have said like 97 wins and they might hit 100 again. But yeah, I don't think they're as dominant as the rest of the league as like they were in 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Before we finish, we're going to do one quick recap of our division winners. So for me, for the American League, I have the Yankees winning the East, the White Sox winning the Central, and then the A's winning the West. And my two wild cards, there's no number behind it, but I'm taking Tampa and Houston.
So this is also based on the exercise, so that everybody knows.
Yeah. Based on our exercise.
The Rays winning which one are we doing, the NL first or the AL?
AL first.
I'm doing the Rays winning the East. Hold on, I gotta flip through this. It's all in my nice little black book that Jessica thought was cute. Yeah, tell Katie I'm cute. Then I have the White Sox winning the Central. Come on, this is a bit. We can keep going with it. And then I have the A's winning the West.
And then your wild cards?
Oh fuck.
You can just list them off. Just throw them off the top of your head.
Oh, I don't have to go by the numbers?
No, I didn't. Not for the wild cards.
I would go with the Yankees, obviously. And then I don't know. I think I'm going to stay in division. I'm going to go with the Jays. I think the Jays have a chance. I like the young talent that they have, and I don't like anybody in the Central really. I think it's the White Sox, maybe the Twins, but
I feel like the Twins time's passed.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
And then for the National League, make sure to start looking up through your little black book over there. For the National League, I have the Dodgers winning the West. I have the Brewers winning the Central, the Mets winning the East, and then my opinion, the 2 wild cards are going to be the Padres and the Braves.
So I have the Mets winning the East. I have the Brewers winning the Central, and I have the Dodgers winning the West. And then I'll take the Padres and the Cardinals winning the or going
Cardinals over the Braves.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
No, just kidding. Braves.
All right. So
let me make sure I read this right. Yeah, I only have the Braves at 16 points. What the fuck? Yeah, the Braves definitely with home field advantage. I don't agree with those, by the way. The Braves are going to win the East. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, but this is look, sir. This is the exercise. This is how we did these projections.
You're right.
Yeah. All right. Now, the last thing, Chris, give me 1, your A's playoff prediction, and 2, your World Series prediction.
They're going to lose in the ALDS because they always do. Until the A's prove me wrong and win an American League Division Series, this is going to be my prediction for this podcast every single year. This is cynical, but it's a fact. I'm tired of losing in this first round. I guess we didn't lose in the first round last year. I'm tired of losing in the American League Division Series. I'm fucking tired of it as an A's fan. I don't want to see it anymore. You got to prove me wrong for me to be a believer, Julio. Oh, my World Series.
No, actually, I like this. Okay. I like this instead. I have them losing in the ALCS. I think unless a really drastic trade happens, maybe that'll change my story. There's a CBS. They're like, "What's your bold prediction?" CBS Sports. I don't remember who the writer was, but they're like, "Oh, the A's are going to trade for Trevor Story at that trade deadline."
Dalton Jeffries looking like more and more like some trade bait. Just saying. All
right.
Who called that one? This guy.
Yeah, I have them losing the ALCS. I think at the back of it, of the rotation, just the firepower is not there yet. But I think this team's gonna be awesome. I think they're a really good team. All right. So that being said, Chris, give me your World Series prediction.
I like the White Sox losing to the Dodgers, and the Dodgers going back to back. I think that the best series we're going to see all season is an NLCS against the Dodgers and the Padres. Or no, they would face in the NLDS, wouldn't they?
Fuck. Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate that'll happen.
The best series will be in the NLDS. That's a bummer. But and that'll be their toughest challenge, and then they'll just walk through the rest. And I would say the Dodgers in 6. I just think the White Sox are too young. And I think the White Sox will get there as a fluke. I think that everybody will be shocked when they beat the Yankees in the ALCS. All right, what about you?
I have the Yankees going against the Dodgers as well. And I have the Dodgers, I like Dodgers in 6.
Yeah.
To me, it's one of those things where it's like they finally got over the hump. They finally won. They know what it's like. And I think now is just we're kind of fucked for the next 3 years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And their talent.
That being said.
Yeah. They got better. It's insane.
That being said, I can't wait till we're both wrong and the Oakland A's sweep through the entire playoffs to win the World Series for the first time since 1989, baby.
Again, the first time that they'll make it past the LDS since 2006. Well, you're right. I shouldn't end the podcast on cynicism. Let's go. World Series, baby. Drunk on
World Series. I think before we finish, I'll do my typical sign off. How are you feeling for your first A's game in attendance in over a year and a half?
Pumped.
This is the first time you're going to be at a game as a podcast host where I feel like we're a little more in the community. Like, dude, holy shit, it's happening.
Fucking pumped. Cannot wait. I hope I run into some old friends there. I'm going with some old friends, but I hope I run into other old friends. I cannot wait to talk shit to the Astros the entire time.
Oh, where are you sitting? Where are you sitting, by the way?
Section 2. I'm on the upper deck. That was the only thing that was available when we bought the tickets because the pods, they have to like spread you out. Hold on, I have it right here. Section 205. It's like right field, but not in right field. It's like I would say between the bullpen and the right field wall. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's like along the foul line. But yeah, very excited.
And our next pod, we're actually going to have live baseball to talk about. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait, man.
Thank you, God, because basketball, the Warriors are sucking and it's starting to. I mean, they won the other night, but it's been brutal. All right,
the Bulls.
We are gonna end the podcast. We'll see you guys next week. I will have live reports of all the absurd things that I called Jose Altuve. I will report back.
Actually, write it down. Write it down for me.
No, I might bring some sound. I might bring my my recorder with me and record some.
Ooh,
stuff.
I like that.
Yeah. So we'll see you next week. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review our podcast, because the more you like it, the more you share it, the more we can get paid to do this, and the more we can do it. Last but not least, Julio.
It's so great to actually say this and have it mean something. Let's go, Oakland, baby.
Woo! The Town Tailgate is an independently produced podcast. It is written and executive produced by this guy, Chris Madrigal, and my partner in crime, Julio Reynoso. It is sound mixed and edited by yours truly. Social media management and marketing is run by, once again, my partner, Julio Reynoso. And a special thanks and shout out to my brother, Larry Madrigal, for composing and producing our theme song, as well as graphic designing our album cover and artwork. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Please tune in next week. Please subscribe. And last but not least, as we always say, let's go Oakland.